Go again.
Ashley Smith.
Do it. You could talk me through what you're doing as you're doing it.
Putting the drums in place to start with. I normally would set up my hardware. Well, normally when I'm setting up, I'd normally set up my bass drum first and then set up around it. And then I'll put everything in place and then adjust everything so it's in place for how I would play. Normally I'd play with the rack tom on a snare stand so I can get my ride cymbal a bit further over into the middle of the bass drum normally. I normally play my kit quite low. And that's about it really.
Okay, just give us a bit of groove, Ash, just show it all works. Okay, does that all work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, anything you change?
I'd tune it up a bit differently.
Okay, sure.
Up a bit dampening on the toms.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, come down to this seat now, Ash. Just going to ask you some questions. We'll just go through them one by one. What are the health and safety considerations you should take into account when playing the drums?
Use ear protection because you don't want to get anything like tinnitus.
Yep.
So I normally play with ear protection daily. I always take earplugs around with me now everywhere. I just started doing it recently because I've realised how bad it is. Your posture and positioning. Like you need to also make sure you've got good upper body strength. So, which also relates to carrying your equipment around. You always want to have good upper body strength, so you should work out every day, keep on top of everything. So do lots of press ups and sit ups and a bit of weight work. Normally when I take my gear out, because that's also quite heavy stuff, so you've got to work with that, so I normally take it out, straight out of the car and I put it on a trolley, so I don't have to do much lifting around. Warming up as well, and make sure you've got good grip on your sticks as well, so obviously you don't want to get no cuts or blisters or anything or throw them at anyone. That's about it, yeah.
Okay, good, well done. Actually, could you describe your warm-up routine?
Normally I would do triplet fills on the snare and toms, and then I'd go on to the crashes to stretch my arms out a bit further, warm myself up, do a few paradiddles on the snare, and then do some singles and doubles with the bass drum and snare and toms. That's about it normally.
Good stuff, okay. So, actually, you talked about it when you were setting up the drum kit. When you're setting up a drum kit, what are the considerations you make?
I'd make sure I'd have the appropriate hardware for how I'd play. Like I say, if I have a rack tom, I don't know I'll use on a rack, I'd have it on the snare stand because it's more loose and it's got, so it gets a better sound because it's got nothing underneath it to push the sound out.
Okay.
I normally make sure it's all tuned correctly and it's all dampened well. Like I would, I normally play with Pinstripe and Aquarian Super Kick because it's all got quite good dampening built into it anyway, but if the kit needs any further dampening, I'll do that myself, but I use the E-rings that Evans, you can get from Evans. Okay. And I'd make sure my kit's all, I'll do it once every other month normally, not that I don't do it very often, but lubrication, so I like oiling up my lugs and making sure my stands and everything are all right, not too tight.
Good stuff. What kit do you play, Ash, and why?
At the moment, a Gretsch Catalina Maple.